one of this week's new releases, Abigail. What can you tell us about Abigail?
Sure.
Joe, you're our resident horror expert.
Thanks, Brett. You know, Abigail is the 5th or 6th feature from the Radio Silence team, the team of Matt Bettinelli, Olpin, and Tyler Gillett. You might be familiar with their work, including Ready or Not, Scream 5,
Love Ready or
Scream 6, and now they have Abigail. They also did one of the shorts in the original VHS. For you freaks out there that remember the one when the guys run through the haunted house with the GoPros, that's these guys. Without being too mean, these are two people that I'm sure are very nice and talented or whatever in their way. But they've yet to make a good movie, especially a good horror movie, and they have the least ambitious horror film of the year so far. It is dreadfully unambitious, and it brings up a lot of questions about why. Your audiences, though they might be young, aren't stupid. How many times in Abigail and in all their films, but especially in Abigail, just like the repeating of the plot, the boring, simple, very straightforward plot, like over and over, and the character dynamics, paper thin, like a child's play, like so broad that they were like knocking my popcorn into my lap, these characters. Horrible. As far as horror's like comedy. You know, you gotta earn it. You know, you can't just go from 0 to 100. Like one second you're sitting there, and the next second I'm jumping up and down and clapping and rubber chickens in my head, and I'm doing a clown show. There's no context. There's no laughter. It's the same thing in horror. In Act 3, they get all of a sudden where they're like, well, we better do some horror soon. These motherfuckers paid $12 for the ticket, or 20, or wherever you live. So they're like, oh, quick, wait, I forgot, let's do some horror. And then they throw one of the actors in like a gigantic mass grave, like a mass grave that is the size of Jesse Plemons's in Civil War, like tons of bodies in this like shit-filled pool in the basement, and they throw her in, and it's so gnarly and so aggressive and so shocking, except that you feel nothing because it's completely unearned. It doesn't make any sense. Why? Why did they think Abigail should be kept in a haunted house? Like, the house just looks like a haunted house. Like, why would that be where they keep her? We eventually learn why.
And the bodies, the mass grave, in addition to the like spontaneous combustion and things, like the best to me, the best horror effects or set pieces in the movie were taken verbatim from Ready or Not. I was almost like, what? It was like weirdly, it was like, it's one thing to have a brand,
To have
and like a
your
horror
motifs,
brand.
sure.
It's another thing to literally like copy your own movie
Right.
to such an extent. It was almost bizarre.
It is bizarre.
I was like, are they just expecting that people didn't see Ready or Not? It was like, it was kind of like confusing how similar those beats were.
They just like, it worked then, and
Yeah.
it's gonna work now. When the vampires step into light in this film, they explode like gratuitously, and it's very bloody, and it works great, except there's no like context to enjoy the gore in. It's just like gross for gross sake, and also like, it's not even gross because it's so focus grouped. This movie is just a bunch of executives looking around. I wish I worked at Universal. I wish I worked there so bad, because I could sit around all day. Give me a fucking piece of paper with all the movies we ever made. The Dracula's Daughter. What was good last year? Megan. Okay, we got to do a Megan, but we'll do vampire. And you know how Megan dances, and there's like memes about that? People loved that. Abigail's going to dance too. Really? Why? How? She's a ballerina. Why? How?
But again, really
who
quick,
the fuck cares?
really,
why? Why is she a ballerina?
But really quickly, that still sounds good. That still sounds good. Like, it's the beginning.
Okay,
of
fine.
a,
But then the creative team has to have like a reason to do it, not just cashing the check.
Yeah, so
like,
they have
to have some sort of point of view on the material. This is point of view-less horror, and therefore it's not scary. The characters are too broad. That has nothing to say. There's no interesting themes brought up. It's totally unambitious in the worst way.